And we've got a story for you now, which is a story of overcoming the odds, of determination, because after being smashed in the face with glass on a night out, leaving him blind in one eye and partially sighted in the other, former Leeds Rhinos academy player Matthew Syron says he was left living in a nightmare.
Yeah, the attack happened on Boxing Day and Matthew's only recently been discharged from hospital with no guarantees he'll ever be able to see again.
But he is determined that some change will come from this. He's calling on the government to improve safety laws by bringing in a glass ban in pubs and bars after 9 p.m. And Matthew joins us now live on the breakfast sofa.
Good morning, thank
you so much for coming in. We'll come to your campaign in a moment and why you want to see that change. But if you don't mind, if we just go back to what happened, because you'd come back from Australia, where you now live with your young family, to the UK for Christmas.
For Christmas. To meet my new nephews. So my brothers have just had a son each, 3 days apart, which was an amazing thing. So I was like, look, while my business is closed over Christmas, I'm going to come see my family. I ain't seen them in a few years. And yeah, I was out. And this has happened.
Talk us through what you can remember of the night.
So I was out with old rugby friends in a bar in Leeds. It's Christmas, everyone's having a good time, drinks are flowing, things are going great. I broke off from the group and I went to the toilet. Heading back from the toilet, I came to the bar, stood with another friend at the bar, just chatting away. I felt something brush over my right shoulder. Within seconds, I'd been hit in the face with either a glass or a bottle. I had my eyes open at the time. Obviously, I'm talking to someone. The glass has come through my face and into my eyes. The attackers fell with me and pushed it into my face even more. Obviously, damaging my face and my eyesight. I were instantly blind. People around me were trying to help as much as they can. The attacker ran off. What led after that, I was in the ambulance. Obviously, blood everywhere. It was honestly like the shower had been turned on. Blood were pouring out of my face, my eyes. I got rushed to hospital. Panic's obviously set in. Fear, not knowing what's going to happen. I were obviously distressed and I couldn't calm down really. So when my mum was there, the paramedics let my mum try to calm me down and clean me up a little bit. And my mum was sat in front of me, pulling glass out of my face, saying, look, it's going to be all right. Everything will be all right. And then what led after that, I went into surgery and they had to save my eyes. And there were 30 stitches in my right eye, 10 in my left eye. I underwent 5 hours of treatment. And luckily they stopped any bleeding and any infection. My eyebrows, nose, lips were all split. They did a fantastic job to stitch me up really well. Yeah, that's what went on.
Matthew, what a nightmare, what a nightmare. I'm so sorry that you've had to go through this and the situation. You've been in hospital for a large part of the last couple of months since then. How are things now, like, in terms of your sight?
Honestly, the first week, I can't explain to you what goes through your mind. I was living in a true nightmare. Just not being able to see your loved ones. I just kept thinking to myself, I'm never going to see my kids and my partner's face ever again. Never going to be able to do the things I love doing. It's excruciating. It's the pain, the fear. It was so horrific. But luckily I had a strong family behind me, everyone supporting me, just to get me through it. Everyone knows, obviously, it's tough if you're in hospital. It's a very lonely place to be. But I have strong people around me. My mum didn't leave my side. She slept on the floor for 4 weeks next to me.
We're just seeing images of you with your partner and your 2 children. And just to make our audience aware, they're not here, they're in Australia. So there's that added layer of emotion of missing them. Every day is tough, especially in these circumstances. I don't get to see my birthdays coming up. They're absolutely beautiful, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, my daughter's 1 in March on St Patrick's Day and my son's 3 in April. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough thing to take. especially when something's been taken from you. It is hard to handle, but every day I'm just trying to get better and be positive.
And the reason you can't be with them at the moment is because you have to stay in the UK. You can't go back to Australia because you're awaiting more medical treatment. I guess you have to stay on the path with the team who've been helping you so far.
That's right. And they've done an unbelievable job, and they've been so caring and kind and looking after me. I've got a minimum of 2 more surgeries on my right eye to try get some sort of vision, but there's no guarantees with anything. They can't stand in front of me and say, look, we're going to get your vision back to what it was. They don't know either. They just have to fix the eye as much as they can, and then hopefully I can see something.
The science, the technology, the medicine behind it is absolutely mind-blowing, isn't it? So you've had 2 operations already, 30 stitches internally to reattach retina, and a buckle which clinches the eyeball to keep it in place, which will be loosened hopefully. And then you'll have a transplant in the next year or so. Long term, what's the best hope for your vision?
The best hope is that I can regain sight in my right eye and fly home to Australia. Some sort of vision just to be able to see my family, and at this point, very minimum stuff. I just want to be able to see my kids and be home, just be back to some normality. There's other things like going back to work and being able to see out of 2 eyes again. I don't know. It's just indefinite at the minute. I don't know what's going to happen. But as long as I can get some sort of sight, get on that plane and go see my kids, that's all I care about at the moment.
What sort of time frame are you potentially looking at for that?
A couple of months.
OK.
So obviously you've got to heal between operations, and they don't just want to... It's not one of them things where you just, we operate, we push you out the door. They want to help as much as they can. They've been unbelievable.
And you're working with all of these variables. You don't know what the future holds, but one thing you are certain of is you want to see change in the hospitality industry when it comes to having glasses beyond a certain point of night. Talk us through that.
The way I look at it is, I went to Australia 11 years ago, and glasses got banned after a certain time. There's minimal glassings, no one gets glassed. I'm not saying, let's totally get rid of glass. All I'm saying is at 9 p.m, stop serving glass. Your pint glass turns into a PVC or recyclable cup. And until close, it's only a couple of hours of your time. If people aren't willing to do that and no one wants to support this petition, there could be a possibility that a small chance you go into a bar and there is glass around, and someone who's drunk, on drugs or whatever is having a bad night, and he comes and smashes you in the face with a glass, or your friend, or someone you know, and you'll end up sitting in this spot that I'm in. And it's tough to take.
Because this was unprovoked, wasn't it? The person who did this pleaded guilty to GBH and will be sentenced. But there was no reason for this attack. Even he can't remember it happening. There was why it happened. Yeah,
it's... Look, to attack someone from behind in any way when someone's defenceless, doesn't matter if you've got a weapon or not. You don't do that. It's unhumane. He's done it a couple of inches lower, and we are having this conversation. I would have been dead. So to be going there and having weapons available to use and ruin people's lives, it needs to stop.
So where you're sitting right now, after everything you've been through and continue to go through, what is your message to the government, I guess, this morning?
My message is this: it's a small change. PVC after a certain time, or recyclable cup after a certain time. I guarantee the glassings will stop. The figures are unbelievable. 87,000 people a year are being glassed. 100 people are dying a year. £2.1 billion are spent in the UK over these glassing incidents. It needs to stop. Something needs to be done, and I'm telling you, Australia did it years ago and they've stopped. There's no glassing incidents.
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that the situation in Australia was so different that they'd done it. It makes it all the more haunting that's where you now live, so you know it all too well, yeah.
You can be out and you know that there's nothing's going to kick up. There's no one going to be glassed or anything like that. There's no pool cues, no pool balls. The prevention is the cure. Take it away, eliminate it.
Could we just quickly, Matthew, before you go, maybe a message for your son and daughter who are watching just ahead of their birthday? someone's going to record this and send it to them. So what would you like to say to them?
I love you all so much, and hopefully I'll be home in a couple of months. That's a tough one to say. Yeah, that'll do. I won't get upset.
Matthew, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us and telling us what happened. I know it's something that you want to do. You want to get this out there publicly. Massive respect for the way you're dealing with this, and trying to turn it into a positive for other people so they don't have to go through it. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And we'll keep in touch, right? And we'll talk to you again about your campaign, how it's going.
Appreciate it, guys.
We hope
Hopefully
you're on that plane.
back on that plane soon.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
All right,
Thank
you
you.
take care, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.